I discovered that my triplets are not biologically mine after a decade. My wife tells me that DNA results are merely documents. Where are you joining us from today? Leave your town in the comments section and press like and subscribe so you'll always get new, compelling stories. My name is Jason, and for 10 years, my entire identity was wrapped up in a single role: father. I wasn't just any parent, I was the ultimate dad. That's what was written on my gifts. That's how everyone in our neighborhood addressed me. I was the father teaching the youth sports team. I was the one pulling extra hours at the industrial plant to afford our nice house. I mastered hairstyling and could handle 3 diaper emergencies almost instantly. I have 10-year-old triplets, Leo, Max, and Sam. They are boisterous, lively, and not cheap. When my wife Elena shared the news of her pregnancy 10 years back, we were in disbelief. Hearing the doctor confirm 3 separate heartbeats made my head spin. We were just starting out, with little money, and completely overwhelmed. But I committed fully. I abandoned my aspiration to play music professionally. I got a sensible haircut. I accepted a position at the processing facility that offered a strong salary but wore down my body. I did it because that's the duty of a man. He supports his family. For 10 years, those boys were my purpose. I guided them on their first bicycles. I nursed them through sickness nights. My love for them exceeded my love for myself. Then, a fortnight ago, my world collapsed. It all sparked from a school science exhibition. Sam, the youngest by 2 minutes, is the academic. He's fascinated by how life works, especially inherited characteristics. He decided to create a project on family genetics, tracking things like eye color and blood types. At dinner, clipboard in hand, Sam made a request. "I need to know your blood type, Dad." "Oh, negative," I replied between bites of pasta. "The kind anyone can receive." "All right," Sam said, writing it down. "And Mom is a positive. So that means..." He paused, studying his chart. "That's strange." "What's strange, champ?" I asked. "Well," Sam answered, pushing his glasses up, "if you're O negative and Mom is a positive, then we kids could only be type A or O. But my doctor's form says I'm a positive." I chuckled. "That's likely a clerical error, Sam. Those happen. But Leo and Max are also A, Sam insisted. I saw their forms in the file cabinet. Elena was at the sink. A plate slipped from her hands and broke on the floor. "Sam, stay out of my files," she snapped. Her tone was harsh, unusually so. "That project is too advanced. Pick a simpler one. Build a volcano." "But Mom," Sam began. I said, "Let it go." Elena shouted. She turned, her face ashen. She looked frightened. That was my first clue something was wrong. Elena was always the calm one. She never raised her voice at the boys like that. Later that evening, after the kids were in bed, I found Elena in the kitchen with a glass of wine. Her hands trembled. "Hey," I said softly. "Why were you so sharp with Sam earlier?" "It's just a school assignment." It felt intrusive, she muttered, avoiding my eyes. "I don't like them prying into private medical history." "It's their history, Elena," I said. "And why did you drop the plate? You seemed scared." "I'm just exhausted, Jason," she shot back. "Just drop it, please." She went to bed. I stayed awake. A nagging feeling wouldn't leave me. I took out my phone and searched for information on blood type inheritance. One parent O negative, the other A positive. Possible children A or O, impossible children B or AB. I stared at the word impossible glowing on the screen. Maybe Sam was mistaken. Maybe the forms were wrong. The next day, I called in sick. I picked Sam up from school, saying he had a dental checkup. Instead, I took him to a private clinic. I paid in cash for a paternity test, saying it was for a legal issue. They took swabs from my cheek and his. "How long?" I asked. 2 days, the nurse said. Those 2 days were agony. I began studying my son's faces, searching for my own features: my chin, my nose, my ears. I found none. People had always said they were the image of their mother. I had believed it. But now, looking closer, I saw they didn't look much like Elena either. They shared a distinct jawline, a particular nose. I recognized that nose from somewhere, but I couldn't remember where. The email arrived on Thursday afternoon. Probability of paternity 0%. I sat in my truck in the driveway, reading it over and over. 0%. Not a slim chance. No chance at all. I was not their biological father. I entered the house. It was 5 in the evening. Elena was making dinner. The boys were playing video games in the living room, the sounds of their game filling the home, the sounds of the children I adored, who were not my own. "Elena," I said. My voice was hollow. She turned. She saw the paper in my hand. She saw my expression. She knew. "Kitchen." "Now," I said. She followed me. I shut the door. I placed the paper on the counter. "Explain this," I said. She glanced at the report. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She simply sighed, as if bothered by the inconvenience. "I told you not to let Sam do that project," she said. "That's all you have to say?" I whispered, my voice tight. "Who are they, Elena? Who is their father?" "They are your children, Jason," she stated calmly. She went back to cutting vegetables. "You raised them. You fed them. You love them. Biologically." I snapped. "Who is the biological father? Does it truly matter?" she asked, turning with the knife in her hand. "DNA is a document, Jason. It's just biology. It doesn't define anything. Real being a dad is about the late nights and the sacrifices. You are their father in every way that actually counts. Don't hand me that sentimental nonsense, I yelled. You lied to me for 10 years. You let me work myself into the ground for children who aren't mine. You let me believe I was their origin. I did it for us, she hissed. We were struggling to have a baby. You were down. I wanted to give us a family, so I handled it myself. You were unfaithful, I said. It wasn't betrayal, she said dismissively. It was a solution. I wanted a child. We got 3, and we've been a happy family. Why destroy that over a technicality? Who is he? I demanded. I won't tell you, she said. It doesn't matter. He's not involved. He doesn't know. It was a single incident. A single incident doesn't usually result in triplets, I said. Tell me his name. No, she said firmly. And if you say a word to the boys, I will deny it. I'll tell everyone you're having a psychological crisis. No one will believe you. You're the devoted father. Just throw that paper away, Jason. Go wash up for dinner. Be a man. Be a man. I let out a cold, hollow laugh. You want me to be a man? Fine. I walked out of the kitchen. I didn't stay for dinner. I got in my truck and drove to a motel. I stayed in that room for 3 days. I didn't answer her calls. I ignored the boys' messages asking where I was. I needed space to think, to plan. She was correct about one thing, I loved those boys, but I could not live inside a lie. And I could not remain with a person who treated my life as a strategy. DNA is just a piece of paper. The sheer arrogance of it made me furious. I needed to find the real father. I thought back to 10 years ago. Who was in our lives? We were younger, with a certain circle of friends. I looked at photos of the boys on my phone, zooming in on their faces. That jawline, that pronounced, straight nose. It wasn't my round nose or Elena's small one. The boys had a strong, square jaw. I knew that jaw. It hit me with devastating force. My brother, Marcus. Marcus is 3 years older than me, the successful favorite. He's a rich financial advisor with a penthouse in the city and an expensive car. He has always viewed me as lesser. 10 years ago, when Elena and I were having a hard time, Marcus was around often. He brought gifts. He offered comfort to Elena when I was working long shifts. No, it couldn't be. But the more I studied the photos, the clearer it became. Leo has Marcus's eyes. Max has his smile. Sam has his hairline. I felt physically ill. If it was a stranger, that would be one kind of pain. But my own brother? I needed certainty. I knew Marcus was having a family barbecue that Sunday. He loved displaying his expensive patio and his wife, Sarah. I cleaned up, put on fresh clothes, and drove over. Elena was there with the boys. She looked tense when she saw me but forced a bright smile. She probably thought I was back to pretend everything was normal. Jason, Marcus boomed, walking over with a drink. Where you been? Elena mentioned a work trip. Something like that, I said, looking directly at him. Then I looked at the triplets playing in the pool. Seeing them beside Marcus was undeniable. It was painfully obvious. How had I missed it? Because I had trusted them. I had trusted my wife and my brother. I waited. When Marcus finished his beer, he set the bottle on a table. I walked over, pretending to tidy up. I picked up his empty bottle. I also took a fork he had used. I wrapped them carefully and put them in my pocket. I have to go, I told Elena. I'm not feeling well. Are you coming home? She whispered urgently. Soon, I lied. I sent the items to a specialized lab. It was expensive, but I didn't care. 3 days later, I got the result, a 99.99% probability of paternity. Marcus was the father. My wife had been with my arrogant, wealthy brother, and they had let me raise his sons in near struggle while he lived in luxury, playing the generous uncle sometimes. A cold, quiet rage filled me. I went to a tough lawyer. I told him everything. I want to file for paternity fraud. I want a divorce, and I want to sue my brother. But most of all, I want to transfer legal parental rights. Transfer rights? The lawyer asked. I want the court to name Marcus the legal father, I said. I want him responsible for 10 years of missed support. I want him to pay for their futures. I want him to have custody. The lawyer was impressed. That's severe. It will upend those children's lives. Their lives are already on a foundation of lies, I said. Elena claims DNA is just paper. Okay, then she shouldn't mind if that paper makes the actual father pay what he owes. We prepared the documents. The triplets' 10th birthday party was the next weekend at a local pizza parlor. I decided that was the time. I arrived late. The party was busy. Elena was chatting with other parents. Marcus was there, looking detached. I walked to the front and tapped a glass for attention. Speech, speech, someone yelled. Elena smiled at me, looking relieved. She thought I had given in. Thank you all for coming, I began. The room quieted. The triplets looked up from their pizza, grinning. My heart ached for them, but I had to do this. For my own survival, I had to tear it all down. 10 years, I said. That's a long time. A decade of first steps, school projects, and sports practices. Being a parent is the most difficult role there is. Here, Marcus called out, raising his glass. Especially, I continued, my voice turning hard, when you're doing the job for another man. The room fell completely silent. Elena's smile vanished. What do you mean, Jason? She asked with a nervous laugh. I said, pulling a large envelope from my jacket, that I learned something fascinating recently. Elena told me DNA is merely a document. She told me biology is unimportant. I opened the envelope. But I think biology matters quite a lot to your finances. I walked to Marcus and pressed the DNA results against his chest. Congratulations, Uncle Marcus, I announced loudly. Or should I say, Dad? Marcus looked at the paper. He went white. His drink fell from his hand and shattered. What is this? He stammered. It's a paternity test, I declared to the room, proving you are the biological father of Leo, Max, and Sam. Sarah, Marcus's wife, stood up, shaking. Marcus, is this true? No, it's a lie. Marcus shouted. He's lost his mind. It's not a lie, I said. And here is the second set of papers. I handed a stack to Elena. These are divorce papers, and a legal request to remove me as their father. Since DNA is just paper, you won't mind that this paper states I am no longer responsible. You can handle this with their real parent now. You can't do this. Elena screamed. They are your sons. You love them. I loved them when I believed they were mine, I said. I loved them when I believed you were my faithful wife. But you were with my brother. You lied to me every single day for 10 years. You watched me ruin my health working overtime to provide for his children while he bought luxury cars. I turned back to Marcus. I've also filed for past child support. The amount for your income is significant. You owe me roughly $500,000 for the last decade, and you're responsible for all the years to come. Sarah marched up to Marcus and slapped him across the face. The sound echoed. You were with her? Sarah screamed, pointing at Elena. My sister-in-law? While we were trying to start our own family? Sarah, please, let me explain, Marcus begged. I am leading you, Sarah said coldly. And I'm taking half of everything before she gets it for child support. She stormed out. The party descended into chaos. Parents whispered and recorded on their phones. The triplets were crying, confused but understanding that I was leaving. Leo ran up to me. Dad, where are you going? I looked into his eyes, Marcus's eyes. It was the most difficult moment of my life. I knelt down. I'm sorry, Leo, I said. You need to talk to your mother and your Uncle Marcus. They are your parents now. But you're my dad. Leo cried. Not anymore, I whispered. I stood up. I looked at Elena. She was sobbing, holding the divorce papers, staring at the ruins of her life. She had lost her husband, her standing, and her financial safety in just a few minutes. You said DNA was just a piece of paper, I told her one last time. Well, so is a divorce judgment. Enjoy your new truth. I walked out of the pizza place, got in my truck, and drove away. That was half a year ago. The aftermath was total. My divorce was finalized quickly. Due to the fraud, I paid no support. The judge was appalled by Elena's actions. Marcus's life exploded. Sarah divorced him and took their home. The court mandated an official DNA test, which confirmed everything. Marcus was ordered to pay me a large settlement, which emptied his accounts. He now pays substantial monthly support to Elena. Elena is unhappy, living in a modest apartment. She has to deal with Marcus, who resents her and the children for destroying his comfortable life. The golden child is now a resentful, divorced father paying for 3 sons he never intended to have. And the triplets? It pains me. I won't pretend otherwise. I miss them. I see them occasionally in town. They look unhappy. They look lost. But I could not stay. To stay would have been to accept that I was merely a placeholder and a source of income. To stay would have meant accepting what Elena and Marcus did as okay. I moved to a small house near a lake, a couple of hours away. I began playing music again. I got a dog. It's peaceful here. Sometimes people tell me I was too harsh on the children. They say I should have been the bigger person and stayed. But I was the bigger person. I stood up for the truth. Elena was right about one thing. DNA is, indeed, just a piece of paper. But the truth? The truth is forged from iron. And if you collide with it at full speed, it will break you into pieces. I am Jason. And I am, at last, myself.